Hey guys, it's Kelly Beck with the Walgrave Group. I'm going to be doing the summary of the radio program from this last week. Off the top, we talked a little bit about how the 2019 market is probably going to look relatively similar to the 2020 market, so it's going to be a lot of the same patterns are carrying over. For sellers, it's going to be good because there's not a ton of inventory, so as long as you're marketing well and pricing competitively, you should be able to move your home reasonably well. There's not a glut of inventory. On the buy side, interest rates are going to stay probably at 4.25%. Maybe a little bit less, so it's going to be pretty good as far as interest rates and purchasing power. We had a lot of good questions coming into. We had Gary call in and talk about how baby boomers that are transitioning out of single-family homes might affect the market. We had some good conversation on that. So basically what we're seeing is that because the inventory is still relatively low, a lot of baby boomers kind of moving out of their single-family homes, should that influx of listings should not negatively impact the market a ton. What you are going to see on the positive side, though, is single-level slab homes, eliminating stairs. That's going to be a really nice target for people. So if sellers can deliver that, they're going to have a large amount of people that are going to be able to go into that, and that's going to be a really hot part of the market. We also had Randy call in asking about doing a home inspection and who's liable. We always recommend, obviously, a home inspector. You want to get an experienced inspector that has a good track record. Obviously, within the Walgrave Group, we're going to have some good people to go and direct you to. But do caution, because he did ask a little bit about what liability might be there if an inspector were to miss something. Inspectors are only going to be liable for the amount of the inspection. So it's all part of the disclosure. It's all everything up front. They're going to do their best for you. But if an inspector misses something, or you choose to do your own inspection, a family friend or whatever, you're not going to have a lot of legal recourse there. We also had a text question where somebody was asking about, they have a home that's worth about $315,000, asking what the benefits are to renting that current home and buying a whole new single-family property for them to live in, or selling their home and then buying two new homes, right? One to rent and one to live in. So there's positives and negatives for both. I think the second part, it sounded like when Jason was talking about it, sometimes people can get really protective over a home that they made memories in and lived in. So if you're not going to be able to make that a business venture and it's always going to be your family home, maybe it's wise for you to go and buy two different properties. From a complete effective selling perspective, Mike pointed out that it's always going to be easier to keep your current home because you don't have to pay any closing costs, don't have to pay any fees. You already own that home. And because you're going into a primary dwelling, closing costs and just the cost of purchasing that house that you're going to live in, a new house just for you, and then renting out your current one, it's always going to be more financially effective to do that, just because it's cheaper to purchase your own personal home versus purchasing a rental property. So Blake actually had an interesting one that he talked about, transferable on death deed, and we actually got some help from somebody in the title industry later on. So his concern was that if something were to happen during the title transfer after his father passed away in this case, that he would be liable out of pocket. So there is going to be, it sounds like a 30 to 60 day grace period, and that takes place after everything goes into probate, or things would go into probate, or there's going to be some sort of legal transfer of property. There is going to be some built-ins, but it is super important that if somebody does pass away and you are willed the home, that, I mean, you're getting on top of it, just like you transfer utilities, just like you transfer other bills. You got to get that insured to make sure you're protected in case something does happen. Another one too that is looking to get into a single-family home at the 25 or 275 to 300 level, they're asking about new construction versus buying a established listing, buying a pre-existing home. We kind of pointed out that in theory this is a good thought, but at that price point there's really not going to be a whole lot available. They talked about the West Metro and South Metro. It sounds like you're going to have to go as far out as Green Isle, Lonsdale. That's probably the ring that you're going to have to be in order to build new, unless you're looking for a townhome, and then obviously you're going to be paying monthly with an association fee as well. So really, if somebody's coming in at that budget, you're almost certainly, if you want to stay reasonably close to the Twin Cities Metro, you're going to be looking at pre-existing homes you're buying from a house that's built. And sometimes you can get stuff that's relatively recent within the last decade or so, but the closer in you get, obviously, the less that you're going to be able to have for options. And if you really want to build new, you want to customize or do some semi-customizing, the further out you go, the better house you're going to get, the more house you're going to get. But again, you're going to pay for it in the drive. Obviously, there was a little bit of good banter about the Vikings game, which the Vikings won. There's some forecasting going forward. But it was a really, really good show. with a lot of varied questions, and one that actually stumped the guys a little bit, which doesn't happen very often. But make sure to tune in next weekend for Minnesota Home Talk, and another one of the Walgrave clan will be reaching out to you guys with a summary so everybody knows what happened. Thanks.